What's going on, guys? Hey, welcome to another episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. I wanted to make this episode just about me. I'm totally kidding. I wanted to actually relay an experience that I just had. I gave a keynote for the Texas Education Foundation Network. It was an extremely well-run event, some amazing people, but I had so much great feedback. I was their kickoff presenter, keynoter. I felt like a rock star. They did everything they could to make me feel like I was taken care of. I was important. I was really, really, valued that I was there. It was just a great experience. But it's kind of a couple of things, right? I got great feedback, which I'll share in a minute, but it's actually the ripple that actually brought me to this event that has probably puts the biggest smile on my face. 1993, 94, there's some dispute as to when this started, but I met a woman named Lisa Cox. Lisa was the area coordinator for junior achievement, and she was my handler, let's say, for junior achievement. I had a deep desire when I became an entrepreneur to want to give back to the community. My first attempt, because I was so committed to DECA, was because DECA basically put me on the entrepreneurial path. You've heard me say it before on the podcast or in some of my videos. My marketing education teacher, Jay Stephenson, who I still am friends with to this day, led me down a path of entrepreneurship that really I knew instantly that was what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I was so committed to DECA as a program. I was, successful as a junior and a senior. I was an officer in our DECA club. I got to do so many amazing things. Plus, I got to get out of high school early because I was working. So I got credit for working. It's like, you get paid and you don't have to go to school. It was awesome. Anyway, Mr. Stephenson will frown about that one. But at the end of the day, it was a great life experience. But I went through some really difficult times at that point in my life. As a 16, 17, 18-year-old, Mr. Stephenson was always there for me, always encouraging me, giving me the motivation and the drive without giving me the answers. Like, he would basically say, if you want to do something, you want to make this project work, or you want to go start this idea, you have to do it. He may have known how to do it, but he wouldn't give me the answers to the test. He was legit committed to helping open the door, but you really had to keep that door open and walk through it in order to realize your full potential. And so I give him a lot of credit for being an entrepreneur. So when I moved to Texas, started my company, I was the youngest Xerox agent in the country, as many of you know. And so I was in the need of hiring some additional hands and assistants, and not assistants, but assistants in doing some of the things that we were doing, trying to get our company name out. And of course, I thought, DECA, right? These kids want to be inspired and motivated to, get out of class early, come work in a business environment. I was still young and not that far removed from them at 22 that I could still be relatable and hopefully maybe inspire somebody else to want to pursue their own entrepreneurial journey. So that's what I did. I reached out to all the programs locally, and I was so disappointed. Here in Texas, DECA was almost kind of like a penal option for the students. I talked to 2 or 3 DECA coordinators, not interested in helping me in any way. Didn't have an after work, school program. The one that did, it was only for fast food restaurant establishments. It was weird. Finally talked to another one who told me, this DECA coordinator said, the kids that are in here are not kids you'd want to bring into your business. They are the worst of the worst. And I can't even stand going to class every day. I would never put somebody in your office. And I'm like, what? This blew me away, because in New Mexico, it was a completely different environment, completely different experience. Thankfully, I've learned that DECA has changed pretty dramatically. My son went through it at McNeil High School in Round Rock when he was there, and got a delightful experience. Zach really loved it. It was fantastic. So I think it's changed since when I moved here. My youngest son, Josh, has gone through a collegiate DECA competition. So he's gotten to experience it at the collegiate level. So, I don't want to bash DECA, because it sounds like here in Texas, things are kind of turning around. It was great. But in 93, probably not so much, 93, 94. However, the one DECA coordinator that I spoke to said, hey, I know somebody you should talk to. If you're really committed to giving back to the community, how committed are you? It was a great question, right? Because it was like, Well, yeah, I want to like bring people in. I wasn't looking for free labor. We had to pay these people, right? These kids. But, he said, I think what you have and what you want to do, he said, it's really unusual for someone your age to give back, which I thought was really, really nice for him to say. And he said, I have a friend who has been doing junior achievement for a while. I happen to know the area coordinator. Let me put you in touch. And that's ultimately how I got in contact with the program and then eventually Lisa. And Lisa Cox was one of these people that she has a personality that just absolutely lights up a room. She is so fun, so engaging, so Texan. It's hilarious. And as a 22-year-old, she intimidated the crap out of me. I'll tell you that. But she immediately tried to put me into a classroom of little kids. That wasn't the right place to go for me, at least initially. I ended up going back to elementary school a couple years later, but um, I think I was more, I have a maturity problem. We've admitted it before on the show, right? If you look around my studio, which I'm not going to move the camera, but you'd see toys everywhere. I think that I was probably more of a playmate for those elementary students than I was, actually imparting any entrepreneurial wisdom. So what does she do? She takes me out of the depths of the elementary school and puts me right smack in with juniors and seniors in high school. And it was an amazing experience. I got to meet a great teacher that I am still friends with today, Kylene Dobbs, and it was just an incredible experience. And it really helped me build my self-confidence as someone who is introverted and shy to get up in front of high school kids that have absolutely no problem calling you on your shit all the time. It really helped me in so many ways. And I kind of remember actually one of the first experiences I had with junior achievement, to be honest with you. I was like, whoa, I was overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know. I can't do this. I don't think I'm going back. And Lisa said, you will pull up your big boy panties and you will get your butt back there next week. Yes, ma'am. We'll do it. Yes, you got it. She had that way. She saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Kylene Dobbs also saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And the experience gave me this tremendous amount of confidence that no matter what my situation was, whoever I was talking to, whoever I was presenting to, if I just tried to do my best to come across as an authentic individual, really committed to somebody else's finding their own path to success, you'll be all right, kid. You'll be all right. And I think I was. I ended up doing it for a long time. Lisa eventually left the program and moved to the Fort Worth area, I believe initially, the DFW area. Let's just say that. And we have sort of stayed in touch over the years, but not really. We've done a bad job rippling. And then we connected again, maybe about 2 years ago. And coming out of COVID, there was a lot of craziness. She went through a really rough time, which I felt horrible. I wasn't there to know that this was happening at the time. She lost her husband, and I just knew that I needed to connect with her a little deeper, a little more, be a little more intentional about it. Unbeknownst to me, all this while, Lisa is like checking out all the stuff I'm doing now. And she's like, oh my gosh, you last time I knew you, you were the copier guy and you were kind of headed down that path. We had legitimately not stayed in contact with each other to know what we were both doing professionally, which was such a disservice. But you meet people in life that you just, once you have that relationship, doesn't matter how much time elapses, you can pick it up and run with it in a way that is so fun and so comfortable, just so great. So fast forward to this past week when I was at this conference. I'm there because she put her professional reputation on the line to put my name forward to the organizers of this conference. There are like 261 foundations there, a mix of other people that support the foundations, some school, district leadership. It was a great audience, an amazing audience, and an important audience. And when they first asked me to do it, I was pretty excited. And then I started getting nervous. I started like, oh my God, do I have enough of what I need to do in terms of the ripple to contribute a message of value here? I knew I did. I don't know why I asked this question, but I did. I was doubting myself a fair amount. And then the bigger pressure was, oh my God, Lisa stuck her neck out for me. Her reputation is out there because she, put it out to the conference committee and she said, this guy can do it. The only time she's ever seen me speak was in a junior achievement classroom. And the day that I remember her showing up, I was nervous as hell and probably butchered that whole day. So I was like, oh my God, like, whoa. I kind of went all the way back to being 22 years old. Like, oh my God, I'm insecure. I'm like very uncomfortable. I way over prepared for this. I spent way more mental energy and physical energy, lost a lot of night's sleep because I was worrying about showing up and delivering. And then I meditated the morning of before the keynote. And I just said, I needed to find my balance. I needed to find my center. And I needed to come from a place of authenticity. I kind of put this funny thing. You can go check on my Facebook page about my preparation for typical presentation, but specifically that one that morning. And it was spot on accurate about all the back and forth and iterations and all the things that I was doing and the nervous energy and how I expelled it and all this stuff. But when Lisa, I was so fortunate to have her do my introduction. When Lisa did that intro and I walked on stage and gave her a hug, I had a job to do. I had a mission. I had a message, and I knew I had something valuable to share to those people. And boy, was I going to deliver it the best way I could. You follow me on this podcast. I fumble over my words. I sometimes say things incorrectly. I am not what you consider that prim and proper and totally polished keynote speaker. And I make zero apologies for that. I am myself because I think when you have a shtick and you do that shtick, people are like, yeah, well, that message was good, but delivery, I kind of feel like it was canned, like you just hit rewind and play it again. Sam, I try not to do that. Everything I do, every conversation I have with an audience, I want it to be unique. I want it to feel unique. And I was truly, truly in my zone, I thought, in a big way when I got to do the keynote. Now, this conference had some bigger expectations for me because I did the keynote. I had 2 breakout sessions. I had a roundtable discussion that I was doing. So I was pivoting, I was bobbing and weaving and doing a lot of things. But man, I had such a great time. And it was a ripple that came back to me almost 30 years later. That's what some of the relationships that I encourage you as my audience to go out and foster and grow. And I bet you have a Lisa Cox in your life somewhere. Maybe you've lost touch with her or him. And that's okay. But reach out and say how much they mean to you, even now, how much they have informed, the life choices you've made, the decisions you make, your leadership style, the approach that you take to living your life. You will create a huge, huge ripple in their heart and their mind, which is a good thing. But it'll also remind you that you got somebody out there, kid, that's believing in you. And no matter how old you might look now, they still believe in you. And it was tremendous. It was such an amazing experience. And I'm so grateful for Lisa for putting my name forward. And, the event was top notch. Michelle Coburn and Fred that put this on. Fred's last name is escaping me right now, but these two have done something to create an amazing ripple to support foundations around the state of Texas. And they are true ripplers, and they're creating a whole army of ripplers to help our school districts in a way that is so needed right now. And I was just so blessed and so grateful that they welcomed me in with open arms and were allowing me to share a little of my philosophy and my approach and the power of the ripple and what the work that they do. It was just so great. But the thing that was most heartwarming for me was to look down from center stage to my right to see Lisa there just beaming with pride. To me, that is probably one of the most rewarding speaking opportunities I've had in my lifetime. And I've had other friends that have put their their reputations on the line. There are certainly a lot of people that have pursued relationships with me and then eventually open up a door to a speaking opportunity. And I certainly don't want to take away any of that power because I'm so grateful and blessed for those opportunities. But this one was just a little bit different because she could see me as that 22-year-old, scared of my own damn shadow, and but not scared enough to not be willing to share what I knew, what I had learned. And for those of you that, either new to the show or maybe haven't read my book or don't really know that much about me, is a big thing for me. Because honestly, for a lot of years, I spent a lot of my time really thinking about how I was pretty insignificant. I didn't matter. I was not that smart. I don't really have that much to contribute to the world. I've had an entire lifetime of negative talk, negative self-talk that has undermined my confidence in almost every turn and in almost every way. And it has been hard for me to overcome that. It's been really hard for me to find my mojo. And, even though I've been doing this Ripple thing for a while, I still feel like every day is a new experience. Every day is a new opportunity to learn. And so when you have someone that believes in you and you have people that are so open and responsive to your message, it's just, I can't even tell you how full my heart is right now of gratitude for Lisa, for her, conference committee, for the great audience that I had. The feedback I got, I mentioned, I'd share that with you, was so, it was so overwhelming. Not only was it positive, and people always tell you, you could suck, and people still come up and say, hey, that message, that was good, really good. Because what else are they going to tell you? Dude, you sucked. I can't believe they hired you. And did they pay you for that? That gets a little awkward. Hopefully that doesn't happen often. Knock on wood. Let's never have that happen. But people came up with their stories. People came up with, I never thought about connecting the way that you suggested it. I've never thought about how I need to be a better, relationship builder, how I need to go and build more authentic connections. And I never had this in my mind until you placed it there. I had one lady say that she had thought that she had always done a pretty darn good job of building connections for her foundation and relationships with her donors until she heard me speak and she realized that, what I was suggesting was that no matter what you'd done up to that point, you could do better. And I support that with some good stories and some good examples and some specific strategies. But what was amazing to me was how she said, I'm going to do better because you inspired me to do better. And that just, oh my God, just meant the world to me. I had another person that came up to me and said, I struggle to have really good connection at home. And you've given me some ideas and thoughts about what I can do to do different. And the confidence to blame you for why I'm doing it different. And I love that. And I had somebody that walked up to me after one of the breakout sessions and said, I've been in the business world for a long time. This foundation experience is brand new to me. I'm leading a team of people that I don't really know all that well, but now you've given me the inspiration to go get to know them, figure out what drives their motivation to be a part of this, what's in their heart to serve. And he said, but at the end of the day, flipping that script to what I'm doing for my other professional life, I realize I'm not doing the job that I need to do. I'm not growing the relationships with my clients that I need to. I'm not going out and creating positive ripples. I'm just showing up and participating in life instead of playing an active role in it. And he said, your talk and your bits of inspiration have me, my brain spinning for wanting to do it better. I love that. I absolutely love that. I am so committed to what the Ripple can do for someone's life, what it can do for helping them build more authentic personal and professional relationships. And it's so needed. I share a couple of statistics in the first part of my presentation with this audience about how the, not being able to connect authentically, not having those relationships in our lives lead to social isolation and loneliness. And that impacts our anxiety, that impacts our depression, and it impacts our potential chance of getting dementia. These are scientific studies that have gone out and actually looked at this and said, hey, these are things we need to be paying attention to. authentic connection, finding a way to create more positivity in the world, contributing to your life and other people's lives is one of the most rewarding things you can do. Will it always buy you the bigger house or get you the faster car? Maybe, but that's not why you should do it. You should do it because really at the end of the day, there is no better high ever in the history of mankind than when you see the fruits of your labor, that ripple rippling out and making an impact, because that is what the ripple comes back to you to feel like when you know that you've made a difference and you've contributed to somebody's life. Lisa Cox did that for me damn near 30 years ago. She continues to do it for me today. She is a living, breathing example of why that's critical and important, because it was the fuel in a big way to keep me going as an entrepreneur at a time that I didn't have necessarily Mr. Stephenson in my life, but I felt like I went from one amazing mentor to another, and it just made a huge, huge difference in my life. And so Jay Stephenson, Lisa Cox, the entire Texas Education Foundation network, you are near and dear to my heart. Thank you for welcoming me into your worlds. Thank you for taking a chance on a guy that needs somebody to take a chance on him. And thank you for letting me have the opportunity to create some positive ripples out there, both from your confidence in me and allowing me the opportunity to explore and do things the way that I think they need to be done, and just allow that experience to take place. I mean, it's opportunities like this that I'm going to look back, 30, 40 years from now, and I'll smile because I know what it took to get there, how it happened, all the pieces that had to fall into place, all the ripples that needed to occur for it to, to actually really develop. And I'll be grateful for it as much then as I am right now. So had to get on here and share this on a real solo episode of the Ripple Effect podcast, because I felt like if you guys out there listening have never seen me speak or never had an opportunity to attend a training or even read the book, maybe just the emotion of my voice, or if you're watching this, you'll see it on my face, how much in gratitude I am right now because of what the ripple has brought into my life and what I believe it can bring into yours. I hope you go out there, look to make a difference in the world, make a difference in someone's life, and you will, I promise you, make a difference in your own life. As always, my friends, go out there, do good, create some positive ripples, and as always, ripple on.